G'day everyone, it's Doug Jackson from DougsWordClocks.com, here to show you how to put together the back of the clock. I think this is the third video in our series of putting together the newer clocks. So we start off, because we're going to be making things with acrylic. We use our acrylic solvent in our applicator bottle. We have our personal protective equipment, so we have our small mask, which is designed to protect us from organic vapours. We need a pencil, we need a ruler, we have the clear acrylic piece which is 200mm long, we need a hacksaw, and we have our clock back. So we start off, let's just put the clock back somewhere where it's safe. We start off by getting our ruler and dividing our 200mm piece into 4 components. So 200 divided by 4 is 50mm. 1, 2, 3, and so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So start by getting these things marked out, and then we use our hacksaw. So we go 1, 2, 3, beautiful. Now, I'm not going to cut this on camera, that's a crazy plan. Essentially, the piece of acrylic, hacksaw, vise, spend a minute cutting gently. So, when you finish that, you'll end up with 4 small acrylic rectangles. Now, our goal is to mount the acrylic rectangles onto the rear. If you have a look at the rear, there's a side which is fairly clean and a side which has potentially marks from the laser cutting process. What we need to do is we need to mount our 4 acrylic rectangles as mounts. So we put 1, 2, 3 on this side, facing vertically, 4. Now, where are these located? These are located so that there's 3mm between the edge and the acrylic piece, and at least 5 in that edge. And that's done so that when the back sits on the clock, you'll notice that this acrylic here is 3mm thick. That acrylic there is 3mm thick, and as long as you're 3x3, you'll be totally okay, or 5 in from that edge. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either measure it very, very carefully with an accurate ruler. So in we go, measure, look for 3mm. Let's move that up so that it's more visible. So unfortunately you're not going to see the actual marks on the ruler, but around about there's at the 3mm mark. So what we do now is we get our acrylic solvent, we get our PPE. Doug has a muffled voice as we put the mask on because we're not crazy. Hold our small edge in the correct spot and just apply a thin bead. The nice thing about using clear for this is that you can watch the acrylic solvent actually wicking into the edge of the piece. Now we just want it to cure a little bit before we move it. Just make sure that the pieces are just very, very gently moving it and it doesn't move. Now we can spin it around. 1, 2, 3. Not happy with the amount of solvent that was applied to that, so we'll apply a little bit more. Again, we've just got to be really gentle. We don't want to apply a flood of acrylic solvent. You want the pieces to be bonded together properly. There we go. 3, 4. So we can pull out our ruler before the solvent dries and double check our dimensions. We want 3mm. As long as we've got 3mm, we'll be fine. Now remember, the acrylic solvent will be slightly soft for a little while, but there we go. So let's come in close so that you can see that edge. You can see that the piece is mounted, you can see the edge. So there we go. And that's literally how we go about putting the back mounts onto the rear. Now the whole goal of this is that when this is mounted on, hang on, let's get rid of the mask. The whole goal of this is so that when the back is mounted in the frame, like that, I'm being really gentle because it's still not firm, we can get these holes here. Let's see if we can get those on the camera. There we go. These holes, expand them out to 5mm and fit the back without any issues at all. Now of course we can't use this back for at least 24 hours. Most of the timings are fairly rubbery, but the next step is that we're going to drill these, and that must wait 24 hours. So 24 hours, haha! Here's one I've prepared earlier. Here's a back which has been sitting in the workshop for about 2 weeks now, because I make a pile of them, and we are ready. So how do we go about installing the back? Firstly, we make sure that the mount for the wall mount is at the top of the clock. We get our trusty electric drill with a 5mm bit. We put on protective eyeglasses because we are not crazy, and we very gently drill, being careful to keep your hand so that it's not in the way of the drill. We expand that hole out to 5mm, being gentle. We do not apply a bucket load of force. We let the drill cut itself. And you see here, there we go, we're through. And we now have a 5mm hole. The 5mm hole is through that back piece as well. Now in our little accessories kit, we'll pull out one of these little push rivets. Put it in the middle of my hand so that you can see. There we go. And it literally insert and push, clip. That's in place. Line it up, do the second one. Insert another push rivet, 2, and then repeat for the top of the clock. 3, and then number 4. There we go. Number 4. All good workshops have a little bit of compressed air to blow away. There we go. Now of course, you'll notice when I did that, still wearing safety goggles. Compressed air without safety goggles is a crazy plan. So, now you'll see our last couple of steps. We just need to install the actual mounting hook. So you can see here that this is a keyhole mount. It's designed so that a screw can sit in that hole and then slide up. So we just need to place it over there. Okay, we're about to use acrylic solvent, so you know the drill. On with the face mask, voice goes muffled, little dribble of solvent, and line it up, and there we go, face mask off. That's the next step done. Now we want the frame to sit quietly as it is curing. Again, let it cure for a day or so. All we've got to do with this clock now is install the face and we are finished. I'll do that in the next video.